ain't nothing wrong with it.
That's not COVID hair.
No, that's
Actually,
rock and roll, baby.
the girl up the street cut it for you.
Yeah, she did.
Let's get right down to it.
All right.
The
cut to
question,
the what
not
you
the
call
hair.
it. Cut to the chase. Yeah.
Not the hair. Okay, so 2 questions. Let's just start with the short one first. How come you weren't invited to do the George Harrison tribute concert?
I wasn't asked. That's a real quick answer, but it's real deep because when I wasn't invited to that thing, it's like twist the knife, you know? And it was like, God dang, trying to write me out of my own history, you know? English people have a very funny way of looking at us American people. You know, a great deal of jealousy was going on when I was over there because I was the first one to go back over to England.
Well, you know what the jealousy comes from? You know what it is?
Well, they didn't live a life that I lived,
exactly.
You know, and have the freedoms that I have. No, I live the blues. You know, that's why I sing, play, and paint. That's because of how I grew up. You know, I didn't grow up privileged. It was a privilege to grow up the way I did. I put it like that because it's a much richer life that I've had. You know, been able to put relevance on what's really important in my life, and being on that show was not the biggest thing for that I ever aspired to be a part of, because I already did what was done. But that, for sure, I know. And with a 50th anniversary thing that came out, you know, they put the drums and Jim and Carl and me like in the background and tried to make it like all about guitars. You know, it's to make me less and less a part of what I actually put together and wrote the songs and sang and did the thing, you know. That they wanted to downplay me and make it like a Dwayne Allman deal, you know, like he was the magic behind that. He was our guest guitar player, you know, and they wrote a book and it's called A Hired Gun. You know, I used to say that he was a hired gun, and all Allman Brother people get extremely upset with me.
They used your title.
And they used my title. And no, it's okay, you know. Anyway, they didn't ask me. It was real simple, and I didn't care that they didn't ask.
All I can say is your friendship with George was the thing that mattered. Not a show for someone who's gone.
No,
it wouldn't have mattered to George.
Anybody that knows, you know. Anybody that knows me and knows my involvement with what I did knows the truth of the matter, you know. And they see all that powder puff shit going down. Ain't nothing powder puff about me at all. It's the real deal. And I got to know George, you know, like he actually called Eric's house and asked Eric and me to put together the band to be the core band on All Things Must Pass. Somebody didn't get that the other day. But yeah, the reason I said that we were the core band is because George called us that. And that's why I played on every track except the Pete Drake ones, you know.
Well, George did mention that when they went back and remixed the record the first time.
Yeah.
And did put all that.
He said it wouldn't have been happening if it wasn't for, you know, Bobby and Carl and Jim and Eric.
There wasn't millions of people on the record. There was a certain amount of folks.
No.
And you were the one who had him call Pete Drake, bring Pete Drake into that session.
Yeah, that was my whistle. And we were listening back, and I just did that, you know. And Phil Spector said, "Who did that?" And I felt like a kid in school, or when the Johnny Cash show, I raised my hand and said, "I did." He told me to go out to the microphone and whistle that part, and I went out and I started whistling the part. I said, "What you really need to do is get Pete Drake to come over." And it wasn't but a few days before Pete was over to do a couple of sessions.
And he didn't want you to be involved in those sessions with Pete Drake.
No, we had Billy playing Behind That Locked Door on Billy Preston played B3, And I think that opened the door for Peter Frampton, who got to play acoustic guitar on Pete Drake sessions.
Right.
You know, and so George already told me, he says, you're on everything. He said, I'm the only person who's on there more than you are, you know. But I was there every day, and there was something for me to do every time I was there.
I mean, it was amazing how much you did on that record. Could you just like tell us again, if we hadn't heard it?
Well, I played all the harmonium, the pump organ. I played all of that, and all the Hammond B3 on the entire album, except for Behind That Locked Door. And then I played Beware of Darkness, the grand piano. That was the first time I ever played piano on recording. Hanging Bells. We were doing There Comes a Time When All of Us Is Leaving Inside the perfect fantasy, living in a world of food or lying. That's the art of dying. And when we did that, because that's like Dominos, you know.
Right.
And I told him, I said, I hear Hanging Bells on it, man. Can I put Hanging Bells on it? And he said, sure. And so the next thing you know, there's a big rack of tubular bells there with a leather hammer for me to play. And
That's awesome.
I had more fun doing that. And I did it on a couple of songs. I played all the tubular bells. That was a hoot, I got to say. And I played, the only time I was late for a session was I got caught up in traffic because I was driving myself in my car, my new Porsche and everything. And so I decided I'm driving myself to the session rather than have Bruce. And I was late. They were already in there playing and working and Wawa. And so I came in and I'm like, well, the Garys have my B3. One of the Garys had the B3. The other one had something. Billy had the piano, you know. And it was, what the hell is that? And I got both drummers up here, and Ringo and Jim Gordon. And there was a Wurlitzer right in between the two drummers. And I went up there and I said, and everybody was playing on the downbeat, you know, and there wasn't anywhere for me to be there because they were all working their way around each other on the downbeat. And so I just I had the upbeat. I was out there by myself.
Of course.
Out there.
You're Bobby. You're out there.
Yeah,
At
I
all
was
times.
out there by myself, man. I had the whole field to myself.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I bet George just loved that.
Well, they did because it was predominant in everything. You know, what I did was predominant on everything.
Because everybody else was doing the same damn thing. They
were all playing boom, 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 boom.
And then Bobby. But it's amazing what would happen if that was taken out, what that would sound like.
Yeah, well, you know what? On the 40th anniversary Layla box set, Got to Get Better in a Little While was never completed when we were recording with as Dominos, because we broke up right before that. I got to go back in to do my part. And so it was on one record without me, without my voice, without my playing. And it was Eric and Jim and Carl. And, well, I heard it, you know, and I went, well, there you go, you know. I should have went on back in there rather than letting them war it out, battle it out. They had some kind of thing going on between them. Anyway, well, when they got ready to put that thing out, Bill Levinson said to me, would I like to
Boxmaster.
Yeah, the Boxmaster. Would I like to put my keyboards and sing? I said, oh, all right. You know, so we went out there and he had Andy Johns and he had, it was pretty already mixed because they used to put the drums on one thing, you know. So
that's because you had so many tracks, so you had to put the drums together.
Yeah. And so he was everything was put. He's going doot 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 doot, and I tweaked up Willie's organ out there and put the piano and the organ and sang my
We
part.
went out there.
It was a lot of fun to do. But my point is, you can really hear. When I heard it back, I could really hear my role in Derek and the Dominos because that whole thing sounded empty. You know,
That was the 40th box set. Right?
Yeah. But I got to do it all, do my part, and for me, it was a personal thing that I said, yeah, I know that because I can hear before and after and know, yeah, take me out of all of the things that I've ever done, and I assure you, the music would not be the same. All things must pass. They tried to do it with Derek and the Dominos, with the Layla thing, where they put me and Carl and Jim back in the back like we were side men or something. And that's probably a big mistake. Well, you did say something the other day. Now, this is really relevant. I've talked about Dwayne Allman and his slide parts and stuff at the end. It was a difficult time at best for everyone, with Tom trying to get this thing to match up, one track session to match up with the other session at different ends of the tape. It was really difficult at best for Tom Dowd. But Dwayne's up there searching around looking for a place to land, and
the track was out.
The track was out.
Yeah.
So perhaps it never hit me until the other day when we was talking about it. Like, I bet you he was up there looking for that place to land, and so, but there was never one.
Wasn't anything he could do because no one could play in with it.
Because he put those two things together, and the tone of it all changed. You see.
Well, I guess you have a massive apology to make.
No.
To Dwayne.
No, it's a little late for Dwayne, but.
No, well, I mean. He
no,
was playing.
That's a probability. That's something that could have happened. I don't need.
But take this into consideration. Now, did he come back to put that part on, or did you record it all at the same time?
No, he came back. He overdubbed.
Well, there you go. That was it. That's the reason why it was not in tune.
Yeah.
So because
he didn't see. We went over to do that.
You see how everybody who tries to play along with it can't do it because it's out of tune. So
the whole thing was out of tune.
Dwayne couldn't even play along with it.
No, he couldn't find a place to land up there. That's what I think. That was it. That made the whole sense to me, and it's been a long time.
Yeah,
50 years.
That to you
50-something
yesterday.
years.
We were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah, and that's possible. I don't know. He ain't around to make it right, but
of course that makes total sense.
Plausible.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
Especially if he had come back in to do it.
Yeah,
which is what happened.
Well, see, had it went down when we recorded. See, we came back over just to do that part, the piano coda. Anyway, but had he been there and we did that, see, everything was fine because we didn't do it. So everybody just went home,
Right.
He went back to work. We went to do our thing, getting ready to go out on tour. But no, then the whole coda thing came up again. So we had to get on the plane and go back to Miami. Dwayne had to carve out some time through what he was doing so we could all get in there, rendezvous, and do the thing. And it was a pretty recreational session, and I'm sure everyone knows what I'm talking about. But because it doesn't take long to do the coda, It took as long as you hear it. That's how long it took for us to do it, except I came back and put another piano on top of it. Right. And then Dwayne put his slide parts on. And I understand that the whole track being out of tune. 1,000 times people have asked me what key the thing is in, Is it in C sharp or B,
Well, we talked about how it was just very common to speed up tape. So
used to do that, tighten it up.
It tightens everything up and makes it sound real sweet. So people sometimes would have a tendency to overdo it,
but this was a different situation.
You were at the end of the reel.
Yeah, we had 2 reels of tape, and one of them started out here. The original ended in the middle, because Layla was the last song that we did. And when we went to put a new tape on and hooked it up to the original tape, well, the new tape starts out here.
Right.
out on the edge. And so when it started turning, it was out of tune. It didn't match up because of where this placement on the tape, and it didn't work. And it was a arduous task for Tom Dowd. He had to really use his ears, you know. And that was the one time I ever watched him. And I watched him record a lot, but I saw him really, he was using his ears. He's having to do this by hand, you know. Didn't have all the tricks and bells and whistles that we have now.
They had different tricks and bells and whistles.
Yeah, like ability.
Ability was the big part of it.
Ability, you know.
Splicing
insight,
tape and all
thought,
that sort of thing.
splicing tape. You know, man, you know, that's not very many people have that down.
People these days have no idea.
No,
how
hell, they don't know. When the first time I was in a session was at the original Ardent Studios, and that's at the Summer Overcross Bridge right there at the military guard burial place. Jackson and what the hell was it? It wasn't Summer. No, it was Jackson and something. My big mama used to live not far from there, Big Mama King. But when I went in, Don Nixon and Duck were producing me, and we were doing like Raspberry Rug or something, you know, City Lights or something. That was on my very first time on my hip, when I signed with Hip label for Stax. And, well, it had these two machines were spinning some tape. And Don says, well, hey, he said, I got to go out of here. I got to go do something, go to the bathroom or something. And he said, just hit that button and hit that button when they get down to the end. I said, okay. And he walked out of the room and I went, let me see.
Oh, God.
Was it this button and that button or that button and this button? Because I was standing on the other side of the thing when he told me.
Oh, no.
And I went, maybe it was this button. And by the time I went like that, both machines went and the room filled with tape. It came back in and it was still drifting down, you know. Yeah, that was my last time I messed with a 16 track, you know. I think it was actually an 8-track tape, but we didn't have 16 then. Because the tape was still thick.
That's a 2-inch tape.
Yeah.
So it's 24 track.
Funny stuff. I don't know. I haven't thought of that in years. But well, I hope this has been enlightening for everybody. I got to say thank you all for taking the time to get back with Coco and me and tell us how we're fitting in your life. Going through the whole world's going through a whole bunch of changes. It's not just us. Sometimes I know we all feel alone in this, and we're alone. How many billions of us are alone together? We're all one anyway, so we are. And but a good alone, it's a good kind of thing. Yeah. Go ahead and get your pandemic hair out and play your guitar at 7 in the morning. Everybody playing the blues at 7. That's good, especially if you've been up all night at 7 and you're really having the blues. But anyway, a lot of fun. Thanks again.